Okay. So first, well, not even proper video on the new look program sponsored by Explosive Ape. Yeah, get used to me saying that shit. So what I thought I'd do is I'm going to wrap 2 videos out tonight. So this one and another one. It's Sunday night. It's about 8 o'clock or something stupid. What time is it? 7 o'clock, sorry. And I'm just about to start some work. So what I do is the first video is we'll have a look at, I'd explain what's been happening, where we are as a business, as an organization, and what changes are happening there. So some time ago, I set up eval blood analysis, which was basically a service to explain people's blood results and obviously give them advice on what to do to deal with anything that matters arising from those blood results. Predominantly steroid users, but the idea was that the service would be usable by anybody that may have extracurricular activities. So they might have a bit sniff at the weekend, they might be drinking too much, and they didn't want that going on their medical records. So they could get a private blood test or even a doctor's blood test, but then they could be completely open and honest with us about what they were doing to create those sort of results. Never really pushed it. We built the website and it sat there and we never really did much with it. And slowly but surely, I just started to push a bit of work that way. Now, my wife's a phlebotomist, and we've been talking about doing something further with that for quite some time. So we decided to start doing bloodletting. So we had real problems actually getting this sorted out. So the insurance was a pain in the ass. And it's a bit of a legal weird. There's not really much on it. So we had to do quite a lot of digging and find out where we stood legally. It turns out it's fine, especially as long as individual consent. And then sourcing the equipment we have to ship in from Germany. So we started doing bloodlets. So we charge £40, which is nominal. And for that, we'll withdraw up to 500 millilitres of blood. And then we pay for it to be disposed as a biohazard and all that sort of crap. And we got a little bit of initial interest, and it ticks away, but doesn't really do anything major. Bearing in mind, we've not really fully launched yet. Why would people bloodlet? Well, bloodletting has been going on for centuries, and the general health benefits are that it will help with mental stress. It will lower your blood pressure. It will help with your heart health. It will lower your iron levels. Now, one thing that a lot of men suffer with is slightly elevated iron. Women tend not to because they have a menstrual cycle, so they bleed every month. However, if women have gone premenopausal, particularly if they are users, then this cycle can be massively disrupted and women end up being higher in iron than they should be because their body is used to a natural bloodlet. So you can go to blood donation services. The UK offer this. You're not supposed to do it if you're a drug user or injector, but I know loads of people do and they just keep their mouth shut. The blood's pretty well screened, so it really becomes more of a moral issue. But the limitation there is they'll only let you donate once every 12 weeks. Now, if you're on cycle and you're running high bloods, you potentially need to donate once every 4 weeks. So it's not always practical. But so there's one that are sort of say natural based benefits from bloodletting. And then they are the obvious one about being on cycle and having elevated thick blood and needing to get it down to thin it out. So we started doing that. That then moved into us doing blood testing. So we're no cheaper than anybody else. We use the same lab as Medichecks and Youth Revisited. We still work with Medichecks and Youth Revisited, so it's more of a cooperation than it is competition. To an example, I was talking to Sam from Medichecks last week, who's their sort of head medical guy, because we'd been seeing some anomalies in some of the test results that I'd been analysing from Medichecks. So we were chatting about that, and potentials and what we could do with that problem. So I say we all work very well together. There's no real competition. Meditech's the cheapest because they have the volume production. Ourselves and you for exactly the same prices. The only difference is that we only do blood drawn, so we charge £20 for the blood draw element of the testing, and you have to come and see us. We won't do postal. Why don't we do postal? Well, because it's too unreliable. People fuck up, they mess up the samples, they contaminate the samples, so it's just too unreliable. So that was the next element we added to the service. And like I say, at the moment, we still haven't officially launched. The website is there, but it's being tweaked and developed as we speak. So the one thing we found with all this, and the limitation we found with all this, was that people had to come to us. And Huddersfield's not particularly a salubrious place in the world, though I do live in a nice part of Huddersfield. It's a bit of a shithole. And it's not really the centre of the universe. So we then started thinking, we would work better as a company if we went on the road and we did targeted workshops. So that's where the business is going. You'll book online and you'll book for which event you want to attend, but it's all going to be done at locations. So effectively, we'll be coming to a location near you at some point, and you can book in for your tests, bloodlets, or whatever you want. The next element of this came through my old training partner, Dom, who owns a high-end clinic. And he does ozone therapies and stuff like that, but he was wanting to block me services off us. So, and particularly intravenous stuff. So the wife's done some extra qualifications. We've increased insurances and stuff. And now we will be able to offer, should I say, by the end of the month, intravenous infusions. So currently I'm working on developing on the packages we're doing. We're probably going to do about 8-10 single aminos, probably about a dozen, maybe 15 vitamin type in single infusions. And then we're going to do some blends. So these will be combination. For example, a neuro infusion, we do a standard and we do a neuro infusion forte, which is basically a stronger version. And that's going to contain N-acetyltyrosine, phenylalanine, arginine, ornithine, citrulline, taurine, glycine, and L-carnitine. And so we're going to start offering these infusions. So that again launches, I think on the 5th of April, we're going to launch that down at Strong. We're going to do a day down at Strong. We're not really going to particularly do the IVs on that day. We've got a few people that we're going to use as guinea pigs, and we're going to video it and just get some exposure from it. But then we'll start adding the IVs to the roadshow that we're doing. So that's sort of, and it all sort of complements and blends in now, you see, because people come to me for advice. If I need to get bloods, they can go wherever they want, but obviously I can offer that service as well. We then analyse the bloods, and then they drop back into Crosslands, which is the harm reduction and the coaching side of things and the corporate side of things. And eval stands on its own as blood services. So that's effectively the two companies will one tandem. There is going to be some crossover and there's going to be some cohabitation. But generally speaking, they will complement each other rather than conflict with each other. How well will it go? Who knows? We're hoping with the IV stuff. One of the complaints about the IV stuff is, one, dosing's never been strong enough for bodybuilders, and two, it's effing expensive. So we're trying to strike a balance here, and pricing is proving to be rather difficult about getting a right balance of pricing, because obviously there's a lot of cost in insurance, there's a lot of cost in training, and it's that element that bumps the price up. But because we go mobile, we have a targeted audience. And one of the things we're going to be offering is post-show infusions. So you go on stage and you've done your water loading and you've done your water drop, and you may have used diuretics, you may have not, but you're on stage, you're dehydrated to fuck, you come off and you end up eating junk because that's what you want, because you've denied it for 12, 15, 16, 17, 20 weeks, whatever it is. So you come looking for junk and you balloon. So what we're offering is a post-show hydration pack. So you come off stage, sit in a chair, We hook you up to a litre of an isotonic electrolyte balanced saline solution, and we drop a litre of fluids in you there and then. Because it's going IV, you're not going to get all the rebound issues you normally would, and you're going to hydrate yourself very, very quickly. If you've had a particularly harsh prep, we can add in high-dose vitamin C for an antioxidant. We can add in glutathione. So there's other things we can add to that to make that a more viable IV for you as an individual. So that's one area we want to target. We also, and this is what's really good, well, maybe not really good, but I quite like this bit. One of the problems with arginine is probably the best amino acid for increasing your pump. But the biggest issue with arginine is it gets destroyed by the stomach, which is why we use citrulline and other things in pre-workouts and pump agents. But we can IV deliver arginine, so you don't have the stomach issue, which then means you get a much higher, purer concentration direct into the bloodstream. Take that 45 minutes before you walk on stage, and you're going to explode when you start doing your posing. So we're looking at building packages around that as well, where we can offer a package for pre-stage and post-stage. You could pick both, you could pick one or the other, it doesn't really matter. And the idea is that we turn up at somewhere, deliver the services in bulk, and then piss off again. Because geographically, trying to force people to come to one venue is impractical and doesn't really work. Whereas if you can get infusions, energy infusions, vitamin infusions, pre-comp or post-comp, then it's much more targeted and much more effective for you as a tool in your arsenal of improving your performance, your recovery, and ensuring your health and safety. So that's sort of where that business plan is going, that business model is going with eval. We're looking to do a huge launch at the FitX in September. We're looking at really throwing some money at that and having a big inflatable marquee. And having live IFU infusions and stuff like that. Now, the only downside to all this is people have to book in advance. We ship our products from Germany for the simple reason is they're the best quality. So rather than mess around with something that we know is subgrade, we get it from Germany. We know we're getting the best. It is the most expensive, but it means that everything has to be ordered a week in advance, and we can't carry stock because this stuff has shelf lives. So everything would have to be booked a week in advance to an event. But that's effectively how it would work. You'd go on a website, you'd pick your IV or your blood service, your blood test or your blood let, and then you'd book in when you wanted it, which event it was going to be. Either are you visiting the clinic in Huddersfield or are you coming to a roadshow event? And then obviously you'd pay your deposit. And no bookings will be received without a deposit paid. So you can pay in full or you would pay the deposit. But because of the way that these products are not interchangeable, and if we don't use it, it ends up getting binned, we're insisting on deposits to at least take the sting out of that a little bit. And that is pretty much what I've been working on and why I've been quite quiet. Other news, the corporate stuff's quiet, actually, not much going on there. I just got a case notification last week, but other than that, I'm not doing much in the way of court work. It's very, very quiet at the moment. I have developed a online steroid training program. I don't know if that's what you'd call it. Basically, this is for coaches that want to learn more about steroid cycles and how to program steroid cycles. It ain't fucking cheap. And the reason it's not cheap is because it's taking a shitload of fucking work to do. So it's a one-to-one basis via video seminar. It's 8 sessions in total at about an hour and a half, 2 hours each. And it's 495 quid, which is a shitload of money. And I appreciate that. It works out 50 quid a session. But you do get a lot of information, and we cover how the drugs work. We cover the endocrine system, how it works, shutdown, recovery, PCT, what all the individual drugs do, dealing with toxicity, harm and side effects, health management, cycle planning, pre-comp planning. So there's a lot, and you do get a bit of a database of information about drugs to take away with you as well. So it is a bit of a package. It is a lot of fucking money. I may have overpriced it at that. I may have to rethink that pricing. I'll just have to see. If people aren't coming at that, we may have to bring it down. But at the same time, in fact, no, yeah, 395 I think is a better price actually. So 395, there you go. See, got a discount already. So that'll be 395 for the 8-week plan or 8-week teaching program. Obviously, I can't accredit this with anybody, but you will get a certificate of attendance for what it's worth. Beyond that, the other stuff is coaching sort of carries on as normal. That's fairly stable, though obviously the recent coronavirus may fuck that up. And everything else has been trying to develop eval and find a natural way for that to go that we think is viable and workable. Technically, eval is my wife's company. She does generally run it. She's the one that's trained in it all. I just help promote it, really, I suppose, and just add some technical stuff in regards to the reading of the bloods and that. My wife's a threat-free medic, ex-army medic. She works as a medic. In fact, she's working tonight as a medic. And obviously she's a phlebotomist as well, and she's IV trained as well, cannulation trained as well. So she is actually quite heavily qualified in that field. Actually, I don't know if people are aware of this, but my brother's a paramedic, one of the first in the UK. His wife's a paramedic. His daughter's a nurse. My other brother's daughter's a nurse. My sister-in-law's a ward sister. So we have actually quite a big medical background in the family, which helps because it gives me a shitload of resources if I need to pull from at certain times. So like I said, that's where things have been going. So we've got eval. It's www.evalbloodanalysis.com. The website is developing, but you can start to see what we're doing on there. We've got the steroid 8-week course for coaches. Well, I suppose anyone else that wants to learn more about steroid use, but and that'll be $395 for 8 weeks, and that's certificated, though it is only my certification. Though I do the Import and Ben Kuma's course, which is properly certified. So I might speak to Ben and see if we can find some way of getting that stuff that I'm doing certified for the same people that have certified my import on his course. Be interesting to see. And then obviously everything is just business as normal. And obviously we've got the podcast, Advices Radio, Drugs and Stuff with Scott McNally. That really seems to have found a groove now. It seems to have sort of found its own feet. And me and Scott seem to have quite a nice developing dynamic on there. So that seems to be going quite well too, which is good. I mean, as last video, and we've not been on this new channel for very long. We've been doing the seminar actually quite a bit, but we've changed the format and now we put it out. And I think we got about 1,000 views in the first day, so it's not doing bad. Fucking better than the videos do on here anyway. Excuse me. So that's what's going on. That's why I've been quiet. That's why I've been busy. I've still got a list of long arm shit I want to do, but that's where we're at. On a personal note, I've had to do fuck all. Diet, shit. Training, shit. Am I bothered? Nah, not really. You know what? I'd love to get back into it. I'd love to sort my shit out, but I just have other priorities at the moment, and it's just not that important to me. I have had problems with my foot. They think it's either broken, which means I'll have had a broken foot for 5 months. Lovely. Or some form of severe tendinitis. But I've got for an MRI on the 5th of April. On the other front, health-wise, pretty good, to be honest, mate. Overworked, tired, as you can probably see by the bags that are forming under my eyes, but generally happy, actually very happy. I like being busy, and you know, just fine. So kidneys are stable. There's not been a blip in them now for the last 2 years. They're sitting at 28. With a lot of effort, I could probably get it over 30. I don't know if that would be sustainable at the moment. So, and the only real thing I suffer with my kidneys is a bit of water retention and tired. And I have to admit, I just constantly feel tired. Doesn't matter how much sleep I get, doesn't matter if I take days off, I just feel tired. So it seems pointless in doing so. So because resting doesn't actually change how I feel, I choose to just head down and hammer on. But bought a camper, so we're going to go and get on the open road a bit this year. We will still be doing everything from the camper, so that's not a problem. So wherever I am in Europe, if we're allowed to travel because of Brexit and Corona, then I will definitely keep people updated, and we'll still be putting out content and such like. I'm going to try and get quite regular with the content now. I am a lot more organized than I used to be, and I'm not spending anywhere near as much time on the road as I used to. So I should really be able to structure videos on a regular basis now. I've just noticed that we've just hit 21 minutes, which is probably a bit too long, to be honest, for most people's attention spans. I can't usually do more than 5 minutes on a video. So I'm going to get off, and I will catch up with you on another video with some relative topical shit.